So welcome to the Dr. Joe Neighborhood Community Forum on Zoom. We are getting together today for our, I believe it's our 5th meeting, where we are unfolding and revealing places where there is an inherent interest for people to gather who are Dr. Joe advanced students. And so we have with us today, we have Patrick FARREL, who currently has a home that he was able to manifest in less than 30 days in BELLE Island, Florida, which is just in the same area as Miami, Florida. And then we also have with us today Chris Newberry, another Dr. Joe advanced student, who at the beginning of this year had 2 lots in Panama on an island, and it was part of his vision to someday have, you know, the whole island. And you'll be hearing about how he, just like Patrick and I and many others, we put certain things in our mind movie and in our intentions as we meditate, and they've been able to manifest these things with remarkable, almost biblical speed. And Jeff, I want to thank you also as another Dr. Joe fellow advanced student. Thank you for being on the call. We may have other people joining later. We do have international interest in this. We've got people in the Netherlands and Germany and the UK, Costa Rica, Mexico, all over that are really interested in this in all sorts of different facets and degrees of participation. So Patrick, why don't you go ahead, give us an update with your BELLE Island community home. I know that a lot has happened since September 4th, when jingle, 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 they gave you the keys.
Hi guys, it was good to see you. Thank you, Lillian, for continuing to put these calls on, and Jeff and Chris for being here. Super excited. I'll give you guys a quick update of what's happening here in BELLE, and I'm super excited to hear from Chris about what's happening in Panama. We have been in this house for about 6 weeks now. We've ran some really amazing events. One of them was my friend Mike Rosenfeld, who gave us a really incredible talk last Wednesday about mindset and transformation. He typically works with high-profile athletes and CEOs, and it just shows you that when you have an intentional community that is excited to learn and grow from each other, what magic can happen. And that's what these physical spaces are giving us, is the space for us to connect with people like Mike that I wouldn't normally have access to. So super excited to have the space for him, allowing him to host the event. And I'm continuing to run events here myself. I don't know exactly what we're going to turn this into. I just know that the intention is to create a community of Dr. Joe students and other mindful communities around here, such as Mind Valley and Tony Robbins, all these different ideas coming together into one space that I've been a part of. And I want physical space for us all to gather, have fun together. So I'm grateful to have this community house that we're starting to do that on a very real level. And tomorrow is the first time that somebody else besides myself or the other people at the house are renting the house for their own event. So it's not just about us running our own events here. It's a place for the community to gather to run their events so that they feel that they are being a part of something special. And that's what we also want to have happen here. So I will give you guys a bigger update maybe later on the call, maybe a few other things, but I would love to hand it over to Chris and learn from about what his property is like in Panama as well.
Okay, so let me go ahead and switch the share screen so that you can.
I can do it. So I think Chris should be able to as well. Yep, there we go.
You can see my screen there?
Yes,
we do.
can.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. All right. Anyways, greetings from Panama. Thank you, Lillian, for putting on this event. And that was a nice talk. Patrick, I saw your video the other day. That was pretty neat. Awesome. So great house. Yeah, congratulations on that. Jeff, you look familiar. I don't know if I saw you in one of the events, but anyways, nice to have you on there too. So I guess I'll just jump into and kind of show you guys what I got going on down there in Panama. So this right here is the, you're looking at a peninsula, and I actually don't own the whole island, but I own this whole peninsula now, which is about 135 acres. It's 90% oceanfront because it's narrow. If you look back kind of up the screen a little bit, you can see it's quite a bit narrower up there. So it kind of mushrooms out, and it's almost like its own island. I've actually considered creating a canal there and breaking it off and making it its own separate island. So what's that, Jeff?
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Then you can, do a boat tour all the way around the island.
This is where the location is. It's an island chain called Bocas del Toro. It's on the Panamanian, or excuse me, on the Caribbean side of Panama. And you can see here on the map, it's about a 50-minute flight from Panama City and about a 40-minute flight from San Jose, Costa Rica. Right now, with the pandemic, the flights from Costa Rica aren't going, but they'll be opening back up soon. So access is pretty easy. Fly into either one of those cities and take a hopper plane over to the islands. And then from the main airport there in Bocas del Toro, my location is about a 10-minute boat ride, so close by. This here is a map showing all the different lots that I've assembled to put this together. Property A there, you can see it also has the lake, one of the lakes on there. I've owned that property for quite a while. Property B, I've owned for about 3 years, and that's pretty much where I, was thinking I was going to do is just hold those two pieces and eventually do some kind of a project on those. Anyways, after I went to Joe's event in February, I just I don't know, things changed. My mind just opened up. I came back. I went to the central government in Panama City to find out, hey, what's going on? Are they gonna, is the government, after the pandemic's over, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna support tourism? Are they not? Or what's the, what's their game plan? And what I found out was amazing. All the plans that they have that they have right now. For example, just one thing. They have a tax incentive plan for people who invest into certain projects, tourism-based projects. There's a criteria there of which I'm going through the process of meeting, that people will receive 100% tax credit in the country of Panama. Now, obviously, an American or European, that in itself doesn't really help them because they don't pay taxes in Panama. But what it does is that tax credit is saleable in Panama. And right now, the discount rate is only like 30%, 30, 40%. So literally somebody could come in and invest $10 million and recuperate $6 or $7 or $8 million of that investment within 60 days, through this tax. Yeah, it's just actually almost, I didn't believe it when I first heard it. I didn't believe it, but anyways, it's verified. It is going on. The town of Bocas del Toro, which is on the main island, Isla Colon, they're going to redo the airport there. They're going to create a water terminal so that people get off the plane, get their bags, and walk over to the docks and jump on their boat and take off out to whatever resort they're going to, and including mine, obviously. So they've allocated $50 million for that, and they've allocated another $60 million to redo the streets and a bunch of upgrades to the town. So after I got that information, I made the intention that I'm going to try to assemble this whole point. And literally, it was kind of like magic. I mean, each property that I went after, it was just some strange thing. Okay, they're ready to sell it. I mean, C was the first one that I bought, and that was in March, and bought it from a Costa Rican guy, a very wealthy family, and he had just decided he loved the property. He was going to build this place for himself, and and this mansion and everything. And anyways, he said, okay, I'll sell it to you. Property D, the lady just, I don't want to get, I mean, she had some issues, cancer and stuff. I'm not saying of course, I'm not glad that bad things happen or challenges happen, but it's just one thing after the next, Then I went after property E. I literally bought that in like a week. And F, I actually know he's one of the Indians, one of the indigenous elders in the town. And he literally signed over that piece of land to me and said, Chris, when you make a project, take care of me.
That's insane. That's amazing.
Wow. That's not the hand of the divine, of the God Almighty saying, green light, don't walk, run, keep going, keep going.
Yeah. And so, and then H, and then I bought G. Last week, I closed K and L, and yesterday I closed K. So I just have one more, which is G, and I'm meeting with the realtor on that property on Saturday. I'll have that probably under contract by Monday or Tuesday, and I'm going to close it as quick as I can. And then I'll have this whole point, the points, it's amazing. I mean, you can kind of see, this is a Google Earth picture, so it's not that great, but you can see the reef systems are phenomenal.
Incredible.
They're amazing. They're live, what's the name? There's one of those important people that protect coral and all that. I can't remember the name of them, but anyways, they declared the area a hope zone because the coral is in such good condition and good shape. So anyway, so yeah, it's just like I said, it's like magic. Everybody I want to buy, like, something just happened. Like Elle, I mean, she had a bunch of hard times and stuff, and she's like, this is the worst year of my life, and she sold it to me at a price that I still can't believe. And actually, this is in front of the property K, and just beautiful.
Wow.
live coral reefs here. I don't have really. I need to get some good drone footage of the coral reefs. I don't really have any.
I'll come and take that for you. Sure, let's do it.
Chris,
Awesome.
actually, I was going to say, because I already talked to Chris about potentially going. So maybe Patrick, you and I can go, and we can do a little documentary just like we did about the BELLE Island home. And I know that Patrick has done a lot of photography and film, and he's really good with the drone. In fact, you saw all of the drone footage and some of the images that were in the video that you saw, and everyone that's interested in this has been watching. Patrick and I filmed that. So just an FYI.
Awesome.
So in the next 90 days, we'll be there.
Wonderful. Be looking forward to it. So anyway, there's two freshwater lakes. One of them I've done a lot of landscaping around. This is just a little corner of it. It's actually a pretty good sized lake. It's freshwater, it's like this is a Caribbean island out in the ocean, and this is a freshwater. You literally go from the Caribbean and walk 500 feet into the rainforest, and you come into something that looks more like the Amazon, jungle with grass. Yeah, and there's crocodiles. They're small. They're not big ones. There's crocodiles. There's freshwater turtles, exotic fish, parrots. Monkey. Not really too many monkeys around the lake, but in the area there are. There's a lot of sloths right there in the area. So a lot of wildlife, and it's beautiful. This right here, this is the island, the whole island, San Cristobal. You can see my mouse here, right, as I move it around?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see it, yeah.
Okay, so that's my logo there. Tainuari, by the way, means beautiful life in the Nagobi indigenous language, which there are two primary villages in the archipelago is on San Cristobal, right, like literally, like very, very close to where I'm at, to my location here. So this is my point here. This is this is Valle Escondido, and this one's Pueblo San Cristobal. I have a long-term relationship with both of the towns, with the elders. I know all of the elders very well. I've done a lot of humanitarian projects and different things to help them. They've helped me out in so many ways. I mean, they've been wonderful to me, and so there's a long-term, very tight relationship there between me and the communities. And my idea is to bring them into the whole experience to the end users that come there to the project, as well as doing tours, supplying labor, culture exchange, supplying food. I don't know why I don't have that on here on this project, but supplying all the seafood, all the eggs, the chickens, the poultry farming, vegetables, fruits, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, so be working a lot with them. They have cacao farms and just really cool, interesting things to tour people around. They're great people. The guy here at the back, his name is Saavedra. He's their shaman. He's one of my best friends. He super great guy. And anyway, so farm to table food. There's Saavedra again. That's him there. It's one of my friends here, Clark. And so yeah, most of my food that I get from them doesn't come in a boat like this. Most of them, they come up in their canoes, which are basically, they take logs and they hollow out the logs. It's one piece of wood, and then that's how they get around. That's their mode of transportation. And they come rowing by here all day long. I know them all, and they bring me lobster that they just caught, fish, crabs, keep me constant supply of bananas and whatever else. So anyways, I love that stuff.
That's amazing.
So this is on the back side. We have a deep water cove here, which is perfect to build a marina. A marina that basically we do a residential section, which I'm pretty sure we're going to do now. Residential section. I guess I didn't actually address that point. So the idea is to do a hotel section, which can be built out over the water, over the point, and in overwater bungalows or villas types, and then also do land units. And the land units would be the residential units. And people would want to have their own boat, obviously, because Bocas del Toro is a water world. There's a bunch of islands that have different communities, and my car is a boat. Everybody's transportation is basically a boat. So another really cool thing, they just started a seaplane airline, Elevair. Gary's the name. Gary's the gentleman's name who started it, and first a seaplane airline in Central or South America. And he's got this wonderful plane, and he's basically in the process of assembling a fleet of these. These would be great. I mean, you'd be able to land, basically get off right there at the project. Really convenient and fun way to get there.
Get around.
It's amazing. I would love to fly in like that.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that would be another attraction and something that a lot of the people that are coming to live and stay there, as well as the visitors or seasonal people, is to be shown by the Indians through canoe and to explore and tour and see the island by canoe. I think that would be such a draw. And then to have one of the Nagobi Indians actually being, the narrator that actually tells them about everything about that land, because they're the experts, in that land. So what a beautiful thing.
Sorry, go ahead.
So there's actually an amazing amount of medicinal plants that grow there on the island, right on my property, actually. And Sabera, the shaman, if you walk with him, I mean, he just points them out. This is good for, if your wife can't get pregnant, give her this, or if you're sick from this, this works. If you're, if you got a headache, I mean, he's got something for everything. And so the Nagobis got hit very hard by COVID in some areas, but nobody on the island died of COVID. Which not on our island, nobody did. On Isla Colón, a lot of people did. Okay, but Saavedra, he made up a concoction basically of different plants, and everybody that got sick, he gave them that concoction, and it worked really well. So
I have a side note while you're on the slide. Like in Dr. Joe's meditations, he asked you for a sign from the divine if you connected with that, right? So I've asked the universe before for signs, and one of the signs is sloth. So recently, when I was in my meditation, literally 2 days ago, I was like, if you connected with a divine, show me a sloth again. And here we are with the sloth.
I love that. The signs, the symbols, the synchronicity. That's a great image, Chris, by the way. I would love for you to send me just the image of that, because I'd like to use that as a thumbnail for this particular broadcast.
Awesome. I'll do that. So great bird watching there, toucans, parrots, all kinds of, just tons and tons of different kinds of birds. This is my place, my house now.
Wow.
I built it originally to be one of the model units, and right now I'm in the process of considering different designs. So we may go with a different design. That's right now up for I don't want to say up for discussion, but that's what one of the things we're working on right now. We're doing a market feasibility study, and we're going to go and basically get back into design and make those final decisions in the next 1 to 2 months. But anyways, yeah, so this is the overwater kind of experience. It's freaking awesome. I love it.
What's the square footage of a unit like this, and how many bedrooms? And can you give us a little bit more description of the interior?
So this, yeah, I can actually afterwards, I can go through, I don't have the indoor or the interior slides here or pictures here, but I can get them and show them to you guys. But this unit's about 2,600 feet, including the dock space. Has it's how would you say, it's like 3 bedrooms, but I have the bedrooms all open. So upstairs there's 2 king size beds. Downstairs there's a giant round bed, and so there's, you know, I call it a 3 bedroom, but because it has, I could section those areas off and make them bedrooms, but I like the big open.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wonderful. Okay, awesome.
it looks amazing.
Yeah.
So this is kind of an idea, you know, like idea of what right now I'm looking at as far as master plan. You can see all the units here are over the water. These would be the hotel section, and then the kind of lighter units that go all the way around in this big kind of weird circle. Those would be like the land units or the residential units. This would be the marina up here, marina here. These 2 buildings need to be redone, but this one here is going to be much bigger. It's going to be like our event center, yoga, meditation, cacao ceremonies. You know, we've already named it, even though it hasn't been built yet, but it's going to be called the Heart of Bocas, and that's going to be, anyways, it's going to be freaking awesome. And right here will be a restaurant, be next door. In the middle will be a pool. These are perched up on about 150-foot straight up cliff. Can't really tell from this because it's, you know, above picture, but they're way up on a cliff, you know, overlooking the ocean. It's really awesome. So this kind of gives an angle shot to it, kind of how it would look.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not going to do these buildings now. That was before. I'm going to change those. This kind of shows a canal. We were thinking, you know, when I was thinking about doing that canal there, my rendering of an overwater restaurant design that I put together.
I already see this. Like, I've wanted to go someplace like this in Maldives, I guess. And it's like, it's just so far. And it's like, this would be so much easier, and this would be amazing. We could do amazing things, bring awesome Dr. Joe events and all sorts of stuff to this property. I'm already seeing so much possibilities.
Cool. Awesome. So in the lake, the idea, or my idea, is to put like just a floating octagonal structure, 2 stories, be a great place, just kind of hang out, maybe even make a little restaurant or a juice bar or something. A great place for people to go in the early mornings to bird watch, animal watch, etc. And then this picture here is something I just grabbed off the internet. It actually, I'm not even going to use that design. It's just, I was looking for something that was really unique.
I love that, actually.
Yeah, that's the Ulaman Hotel in Bali, which is one of my benchmark hotels that I'm using for design. Yeah. So
can you type in the comments what the name of that hotel that you just mentioned in Bali?
You know, I don't have. Oh yeah, I do have. Let me see. How do I do that?
Right below where the share screen button, they've got the chat. You can just type it there in the chat.
Yeah, I think a mix of like a Balinese style on this island with like, I don't know what else, but this is beautiful. I would love to see. I would love to just live in this spot. Yeah. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna name it the Heart of Bocas. Yoga, meditation events, cacao ceremonies, healing circles, remote healing groups, you know, lectures, you know, all those kind of things. I mean, it just, you know, for living living the experience, you know, it's like we go to the events, you know, and we have that incredible experience, that connection with everybody, and then, you know, we come home. I mean, I personally, I get up at 4 a.m. most mornings and do meditations, et cetera, et cetera. But it would be wonderful, like, to do those meditations with other people, to have maybe, once a day, be able to have, go to, some kind of a lecture or something, do yoga with people instead of on my floor here,
Absolutely. Are you at the property right now?
No, I'm actually in the mountains right now. I'm in Boquete, which is on the Pacific side, on the other side of the, up in the mountains. So
Okay.
yesterday I closed that one property. I had to go to the notary here in David is the name of the city to do that. So just, and then a wellness center, spa, business center, outdoor saltwater pool, just lots of things that basically surrounding just healthy living,
Yeah.
holistic center, little break off places that do massages, etc. Safe but private location. The location feels very remote because we're out there. It's a point. It's very super private, but at the same time we're 10 minutes boat ride to downtown, to the town. So
Nice.
to the main town. So this is just kind of a current stage. I need to update this. It's now not 8, now it's 12 plots of land. And instead of 118 acres, now it's up to 135. I've got this incredible team, just back to just kind of, the things that kind of fall into place when you're doing Joe's stuff. Like I've had just people show up, like this one guy named Juanma Henriquez. He's helping me right now with all the government stuff. He's the president's son-in-law, President Nito, president of Panama's son-in-law. He knows all of the ministers and all the governmental posts. He basically knows everybody in the government, and he's a total player, and he's a great guy, and super smart guy. He's helping me with just about everything I need help with. And I've got other people too that are working with. But so anyways, we're at the place right now. Our next step is to pull together a market feasibility study so we can make our final decisions about whereabouts we're going to go into the market, and that's really around the hotel aspect of it. So like as far as the community part of it, if I determine to end up going to Joe and similar mindset type of people community exclusively, then I wouldn't do the typical market feasibility study. Would be more just like working with like Lily, and I think you and I could really work together great on this if you were up for it. But really to just find out what is on people's minds. It's like what are they looking for as far as how much time they would want to spend in a place, what kind of budgets they would be looking at, what are the key things that they would want to have in their units or in the project as a whole, just really figuring out what the
market wants.
Yeah.
What that market would want, with that particular, I'll call it the Joe Dispenza market, with the Joe Dispenza or the out of the monastery market would want. And and then based on that, we would then they'd come up with a design for the residential part of the project.
Mm-hmm.
Hotel, okay, these guys, this doesn't really mean much. This is guys are gonna, okay, why Bocas del Toro? Well, it's amazingly beautiful. It's one, but Bocas, has anybody been there? Have any of you guys been to Bocas before?
I haven't been there, but it's actually very synchronistic that this is kind of coming full circle, because I've done something called Nomad Cruise, and we ended up from Barcelona to Panama, and a lot of people went to Bocas del Toro after we arrived in Panama. So I didn't have the time. I had to go back to the States, but so many of my community has already been there. So I already have a community that knows it, that would love to go. And if we could turn this into what you're showing us right now, I could fill this place like full. So you are this is amazing. I'm so grateful to be in a room with you right now. So in a virtual
thank
room.
you. I'm honored. Thank you.
So Chris, my question to you is, and I don't know if it's coming up yet, but because you are looking at having bigger events and so forth. So will there be like a convention hall or a sitting area, which like, for example, you know that Dr. Joe does his 7-day advanced and his AFUs throughout the world. So would there be a place where he could set up the monastery and we could have, let's say 1,300 to 1,500 or even maybe even 2,000 people in the monastery? Because that's one of the biggest challenges that I know that Encephalon has, is in finding locations that can sit over 1,000 people. So I'm curious if that's on your radar.
That would be tough, Lillian, for a couple reasons. One is a really important part of the whole thing for me is to preserve the nature, you know, and that sounds like a really big structure. That kind of, you know, I mean, it's just, you know, this is like beautiful kind of virgin Caribbean and then, you know, this amazing rainforest kind of that join together right here. And I just can't envision a structure that size. Now we're going to have you know, like I said, the heart of Bocas is going to be a very large, you know, yoga, meditation, event center. So, you know, Joe does some of his smaller events, you know, and at different locations. And I'm envisioning this to at least accommodate the amount of people that could sleep, and like how many beds there are in the whole project. So if it ultimately works out, let's just say, for example, there's enough sleeping space for 200 people between the hotel and the residences, then that building would be big enough to, you know, host a 200-person event.
That's perfect. That's a pretty good
I would
size.
say, yeah, but that's the outside. That's still about, I don't see going any larger than that. That would be like the biggest.
Yeah, that's.
I just want
to go ahead.
And I want to honor you for a second, because I only want to work with people that want to preserve the nature. It's not like going in and like destroying everything and just like tearing everything down that's there. Like, I really appreciate that you want to honor the nature and build structures around it. So thank you. That's like what I'm looking for, to work with people like you.
And
thank you,
the land.
Patrick. The idea is to enhance the existing beauty, you know, instead of replace it, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Which is typically in the past, it's, you know, you go in the beach, you mow everything down and you build this concrete gigantic thing. This is the opposite. This is, we're going to take what's beautiful there and build around it. Like you said, Patrick, build around it, you know, and make it even more beautiful than it already is, in a way that fits with the nature that's there. So anyways,
Absolutely.
awesome. So we're completely in alignment there. So
yeah.
Wonderful.
Cool. So this is just, you know, this is just kind of data or whatever, you know, they're planning on putting in 60 million into the town here. They're putting another 50 million into creating a water terminal, which is actually a really cool idea. I love that. But this is already out for bid. So this is going forward. Why Panama? Panama super pro business. Has a good economy. It's US dollars. They, you know, they don't have their own money here. It's all, we use dollars here.
Good.
How long can Americans stay in Panama? 90 days at a time, or
6 months?
6 months at a time. Awesome.
Wow.
That's perfect.
That's awesome.
Yep. 6 months. And then you got to leave. But you can leave. You can pretty much go across into Costa Rica and spend the night and come back. You know?
Right. Yeah. Wow.
Wow, that's awesome.
You asked like what people would want, and like for me, like I would love to live in a place like you're building for 3 to 6 months out of the year and then travel the other times. So that's perfect. And that's a lot of the nomad community, especially if this was like the community aspect, and I'm helping you grow that community aspect there. It's amazing.
Okay, awesome. So, okay, I have a question, Patrick, around that, and anybody else who would like to maybe add. So there's different ways like that those kind of, we'll call it sharing, you know, shared ownership or whatever. One way is where there's certain blocks, like let's just say a particular unit had 4 owners, okay, and each owner had 3 months, you know, of the year. If people would rather have 3 months straight, or would they rather have it rotating where every quarter they have 1 month? So basically they'll go there for a month, or maybe we could have different kind of units, that some that are rotating like that and some are straight. I don't know. I guess that's one of the things that I was curious what people kind of would want.
That's a logistics thing, because as we've been talking so far with everyone since this started, because this all started from a post that I put on the Facebook Leaving the Monastery group on August 9th. And then within a couple of weeks, then Patrick already was able to, get the BELLE MEADE Island home and so forth. So as we've asked people, what number of people, because there are, we've already identified some people and more coming forward who want to invest in something like this, where they actually want to invest in it from the perspective because they want to live there, whether they live there all year or a part of the year or back and forth or only seasonally. There's all ranges in between. Then there are other people who want to, who don't necessarily want to or have the funds to invest, but they want to move from wherever they are, and they want their next move, they'd like to go into a Dr. Joe community where there's other people that are like-minded and so forth, and have that type of lifestyle, because they want to, they want an upgrade, not just biologically, but physically and environmentally. And so many of them are willing to leave the states or the countries that they're in. And so they're like, what's out there? Let's see what, especially, in the Dr. Joe community, our consciousness is much more expanded. We recognize and we're realizing, in terms of materializing, all sorts of new possibilities. So there's a lot of that kind of going on, and there's really a lot of interest and a lot of hunger for seeing. It's like, wow, it's like, what else is there that we could do? So I will put several polls out, and we'll ask certain pointed questions so that we can get some of that market data based on the demographics that we're dealing with, and we'll move forward from that. I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you. And I'd like to, before you actually get into that, if you don't like, I'd love to go over that with you, like, because about the different kind of data points that
yeah.
And I would like to just expand on that really quickly. Just being part of this lifestyle for the past 5 years. I quit my job in 2016, and I've been a nomad for the past 5 years, traveling around the world. My community, like tons of nomads, would absolutely love everything you're putting together here. They typically would be like 1 month to 3 months at a time, and then they probably move on and then come back 3 to 6 months later. So I could see it as like, and that's probably what I would do. It'd be like 3 months at a time, then go travel a little bit and then come back. So there's going to be different markets, but I definitely see like you could separate it into 1 month, 3 month, and like 6 month packages, maybe, that people can like share the property.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you for that. So yeah, this, this just kind of talks a little bit about, Costa Rica has done a really great job of promoting their tourism over the past 30 years. And, I mean, everybody, Costa Rica, I mean, they really created a destination there. And honestly, well, Panama has everything that Costa Rica has, but their Caribbean is much more beautiful in Panama than Costa Rica. So actually, I think actually Panama, by quite a bit, surpasses Costa Rica as far as the natural beauties. It's very similar in many ways. They're neighboring, but they're they've had the canal, they've had banking. Panama's done very well for itself, and they in some ways you could say they didn't really need the tourism, but now that's changing. Not that they need it so much, but they really want, they're making it a priority now. So that's going to be great from an investment standpoint. This just talks about the tax credit law that I talked about earlier. Stable government, democracy since 1994. And it was for a long time before that, except for that one guy, Noriega, or whatever his name was. And then they have a sustainable tourism master plan, which I'm really happy with. They have decided that they're going to support tourism very, very strongly. However, they're going to support sustainable ecotourism. That's the direction they want to go. They want to establish Panama as an ecotourism destination, which Costa Rica's done,
Yeah, very
And
successful. And
yeah, very
I might add,
successful.
I might add Mexico too. I went to, they have the largest ecological nature reserve, a quote unquote amusement park called Xcaret, which is really, really amazing. And you could see that the Mexican government has also part of their master plan to preserve a lot of the natural settings, which is, I think, a growing trend globally. So I think I'm really pleased to hear that Panama has a tourism master plan that includes that, which is congruent with what we're talking about here today.
Excellent. So they just finished, they doubled the size of their airport in Panama City, which, by the way, it was already a pretty good sized airport. Most flights to between South America and North America did layovers or stopovers in Panama City. It was just if you flew to Argentina or Peru or Colombia or Chile, the chances are your plane would stop in Panama City. Now they this was before they expanded the airport. So the airport expansion is going to, I think, add like 120 new nonstop flights from around the Americas and Europe and et cetera. So just another great thing about Panama. And anyways, that's about what I have to show you for now. So
I'm just in awe. I'm really excited and surprised by this presentation. So thank you so much for that. And it looks amazing. I would absolutely love to help you build the community around this and participate in everything that you're doing here. So thank you again for being and showing us this. I guess my first question is, what help do you need from us right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so the most important thing right now would be the information about what the needs would be of the needs in the what people would want basically in the Joe Dispenza community to make it so it would be something really ideal for them. Yep. And if that, the sooner the better. And the reason I say that is because right now I have next week is about my choosing my market feasibility study company. I have 4 bids. I have 3 in right now, and Monday I have the last one coming in. Next week is going to be about analyzing those different ones and then making a choice, making a decision of which company I'm going to go with. And so it would be, for me, it's like, even though it has a hotel component and then a residential component that are separate, but they're at the same time, they're joined at the hip. They're part of the same land. They're going to be using the same community structures and everything. So there's going to be, when we make those final decisions with the market feasibility data that we're going to get from the company that we hire, I would to have that, we'll call it the data from the Joe Dispenza research group. Then I could combine those two together for the final decisions about the direction, when we go into design and master planning at that point. So the question would be just really be information data about we'll call it the JD market.
Right. I'd like to offer and get on a phone call with you, because I think we don't have enough time to really dive into that, because I think it would be an hour or 2 conversation just to kind of go over some stuff. So if you want to do a call in the next few days, I'm open to it. And I'm sure Lillian would do the same. My first inclination is that we get to build our own Bali, or we get to build our own Tulum here, right? And that's what I went to Tulum last year, and I was like, what's the next one? Because this is already getting ruined. And honestly, there's not a lot of consciousness going into development in Tulum. And I see that you're putting consciousness into everything that you're doing here, and that's amazing. So things that I currently love when I go travel to Bali or Tulum is coffee shops, obviously. I currently just joined a gym here in Miami. It has a cold plunge, a steam room. It has a sauna, all those things that you have a spa to do. Those are important to me because I feel so good afterwards. Then I get more work done and things like that. A co-working space, I think, is important for what you're doing. Amazing food, healthy food. It's actually in Miami, it's very difficult to find healthy food sometimes. So ease of healthy food obviously is important. And honestly, like I like the idea of the hotel and the residential community kind of becoming one and the same together, so that the residential people get to interact with people that are coming in, Dr. Joe students that are coming in, and it's kind of like cool that also the people that are visiting get to see like what it's like to live in this residential community here, right? Because we're expanding their mindset by just being present and living in this community. And then people that are traveling in get to say, oh my gosh, what would it be like to be part of something like this? So off the top of my head, those are the first things. And just like everything that I experienced in Bali and Tulum is what I would hope that we would be able to create here, in addition to like some really high vibe parties and fun and things like that as well. So
good
Yes,
music
absolutely.
and
good
bicycles.
music, yeah.
Yeah, and golf carts to get around, you know, like in Halbach Island, I was just there for 10 days and during my 28-day stay in Cancun. And on the island, they have no cars whatsoever. All the roads are dirt, they're sand, and you get around by golf carts. So, and some of the golf carts can hold up to 8 people. They're, you know, bigger golf carts, but it's a great mode of transportation. So I don't know what you've thought in terms of transportation on the island and so forth, if you've, you know, gone that far, but, you know, it's just a thought. I think I like the idea of an open air car because you're out in an island and it's warm all the time. So it's just practical and good for the environment because they're electrical, you know, cars. So.
Yeah, electric
Right.
scooters. Yeah,
Electric
people are doing that in Miami Beach right now. They're traveling by electric scooter. So not having like huge things, maybe like at the entrance to the island, you have a car terminal that is normal, but then the rest of the area is like kind of like smaller things to get around and stuff. So,
Well, one thing you know what, this is huge. I didn't mention it. So San Cristobal Island has no power grid, no cars, no roads. It's a virgin island. You know, the 2 communities are Nagobi indigenous people that are on the island. So the resort's going to be fully self-sustaining.
amazing.
That's right. So are you planning on using solar energy?
Yes, solar. I use all solar, and we're going to use solar energy. Now, if you follow my okay, right over here where I'm going around, this is a teak farm right here, and I'm negotiating right now to buy it. And so we could use teak to build with.
That's going to be
And,
gorgeous.
Yes.
How do we get internet to the island? Is there we can do radio systems and stuff like that. That's one element that I can actually help you with heavily. But do you have a plan for internet?
Well, I have internet there. It's just a direct line of sight. It's actually pretty good.
To the mainland, or how does that work?
To the main island.
Okay, so it's a radio system to go to the main island. Okay.
Yeah, I just have an antenna out there, and it's actually pretty, believe it or not, pretty reliable.
Cool. I have a perfect person that does. He built a company called Cellular Wi-Fi and did all the internet. So he would absolutely love to do this project, probably to like build the Wi-Fi networks on the island. So
awesome. Cool.
Wow.
Hey guys, I wanted to introduce myself. Sorry for
Sean.
coming in late.
hey, Sean.
Thanks.
Hey,
Hi, Sean.
hey Patrick.
Hi.
Nice to meet you guys.
You
This
as well.
sounds
Nice to
like an
meet you,
incredible
Sean.
project.
Thank you,
A
Sean.
couple things I want to chime in on is I actually wanted to do this in Belize with somebody about 10 years ago, and they had this huge master plan and everything. And I don't know what happened to it, but it was really interesting how they got to a certain point and you know, it didn't happen. There's just so many things that need to come together. And, you know, I'm sure you're aware of a lot of those things, but you know, in terms of like power and things, I've invested in a company that uses high altitude like airplanes that fly themselves to generate power. It's like 10 times the amount of power over a windmill. So that might be an opportunity. They are just rolling out to the Department of Defense these machines. So it's not like real futuristic waiting to get info. So I can send you some information on that.
I'd be interested in looking at it for sure.
Okay. And how many pieces of property are you looking at, or you already have one?
You have,
Well,
you have
this
135 acres, right? And 12 lots of land.
Yeah, here I'll go back
So,
up here.
Yeah.
I want to
Okay.
purchase, I already want to purchase one of the plots or like one of the houses on this, like in the residential, like I'm already like excited. So
Me too.
Wow.
you have customers already.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Neighbors, I have neighbors already, it sounds like.
Neighbors already. Yes. Neighbors and community members already. So
Wow.
So,
So you already,
so,
go ahead.
yeah, so basically I purchased all these. It's just kind of been like magic, honestly. It's just like every piece that I wanted to buy, some weird thing, this or that happened, I was able to buy it, you know? In February, I owned A and B. And right now I own all of these except for I, and I'll probably have I under contract by Monday. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's great. Is that Isla Cristobal? Cristobal?
Isla, yeah, San Cristobal Island, or Isla San Cristobal in Spanish.
Yeah.
Wow. That's nice. I'm looking on a map and a great location.
So Patrick, did you go to the Azulek when you were in Tulum?
Azaleak, yeah. All right. I didn't actually walk into the hotel, but I know several people that have gone there. But I've seen lots and lots of pictures of that. So is that kind of like the vibe you're looking for?
It's a little, I love it. It's a little there's a reason I brought it up. It's a little too Lord of the Rings kind of for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I think it's incredible. And Roth, the guy who owns it, I think he's an incredible, he's a design genius, you know.
Right.
But he was actually here at the project. He made me an offer to be partners on the deal, but he wanted full control, and he wanted full design control and operational control. And anyways, I would have been left without a job.
No, I really appreciate it. I think you have the support of the community to keep it grassroots, and let's have consciousness around everything that we build and make it like tie into the nature. I think it's really important that we all like kind of help you like keep that because I just feel like Azaleak, like it's amazing. I'm sure it's amazing, but it feels almost too elitist for what I think we want to create. I think we want to have a little bit more, in my opinion, I don't know what you feel like, but we want to be very inviting. And Azaleak is like super, it's like $1,000 a night or something to stay there, which is, I feel is sometimes incredibly expensive. So,
Yeah.
So I honestly, the hotel is going to be pretty high end.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
really it's just that the whole reef system, you know, that whole area there, it lends itself for something that's just really spectacular, honestly. And we're fortunate, like, so if you see where I'm moving my cursor here, this is all actually, let me.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to say that exactly in that way, by the way. Like, I totally believe that the hotel should be extremely high end, actually, because it's a very unique property.
Yeah.
Very, very high. So, okay, so you have coral here, coral over here, but then have big areas here. There's no coral.
And you can
big
swim.
areas. Well, not
Right.
only can you swim, but I can build overwater units there without affecting the reef system.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Oh,
Nice.
spectacular.
Yes, and then part of and then back over here, I want to build a research center, and then allow one of the qualified or well-known environmental groups that do study reef systems and rainforests occupy it, and because there's a lot of interest from those type of groups in Bocas del Toro, because it has so many unique things about it. It has the rainforest and the coral reefs, et cetera, different types of animals. So they would, that would, and for a couple of reasons. One, that would give us a lot of credibility if we have that research center there in the world, but also it would give us a lot of information and support and help in keeping that reef system super healthy, keeping our rainforest really in tip-top shape. So yeah, my plan, it's actually in the budget to build that structure and then let them, find one that we can make a deal with them and let them occupy it.
Amazing. Yeah. Sign me up. How do we do this?
Yeah.
So let's Dame, Lillian, you could maybe the three of us could even have a meeting. That might not be a bad idea in the next couple of days.
I think
Yeah,
that would be a
absolutely.
great idea. We're here at the top of the hour. It's now 3 o'clock and I do have a 3:30 private client session, but this has been phenomenal, Chris, as I knew it would be, because we already know what's been going on with the demand and the hunger that people have for what we're creating here. And so I think this is absolutely spectacular. So Patrick, you and I, we will have a conversation, and I'm serious. I'm not joking when I said that in the next 90 days, I plan to come visit you in Panama to see with my own 2 eyes and so forth, because I really think that this is part of why we've come together as we have. So Patrick, you know, we've already talked about we're already joined at the hip doing the neighborhood communities here, you know, the Dr. Joe advanced students. So it's already like coming together, you know, effortlessly. And so at this point, I also want to point out, you know, Sean has some, he's got technical expertise also in not just, you know, all things internet. Are you a software engineer also, Sean?
Web software engineer.
Okay, that's what
But
I
that's all.
thought.
That's basically everything now.
Yeah, so I
And I
thought,
think
yeah.
I think Patrick is too, right?
Yeah, he's a
I
software
am.
engineer as well.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted
Yeah.
to bring it up, because we've got some people who are very heavily entrenched in the Dr. Joe's work, who are actually applying the principles and who are actually still connected. You know, there's a smaller group of people who do the Dr. Joe advanced work, and then they, you know, they leave the event and they kind of fizzle away. But we are really surrounded, myself and Patrick, and I know Sean, and Chris, you too, and Jeff. We're surrounded by a lot of other very like-minded people where we're very cohesive and we really are making things happen. And so I think, you know, this just has things gain even more momentum. I mean, to start 2020 with 2 lots of land and to go to 12 by next week, 13, and end 2021 with 13 lots of land and now 135 plus acres, you know, that's pretty amazing. And Sean and, you know, Patrick, for you to, you know, you were in Tennessee, and not even 30 days after this all began, a couple of weeks later, you know, you've got a $2.87 million home on the water in BELLE Island, and with everything else going on. So, you know, we are picking up quite a bit of momentum. So closing remarks for Patrick, Chris?
Just also that this lends itself also to the technical side of what I'm doing, because there are a lot of tech things that we do need to do to make this work for the people that are there, and distributed systems where we keep everything local. It's not, I can't dive into all the tech stuff that I envision for this right now, but just decentralized. We don't want like all this data that goes up to the servers in like Texas or whatever. Like, I can help us create a tech system that makes sense locally, so that we're keeping our bandwidth out to the rest of the world, and useful to communicate out to the rest of the world. But locally, we have unlimited bandwidth to share pictures and all sorts of stuff, and run your data systems locally. So anyway, it just shows that all the different elements, and like, it does seem divine that all these pieces are finally coming into place. There's a reason why I was a software engineer and then decided to do this. And if it was the other way around, I might not have those tech systems that we're going to need at this property. So
Awesome. I look forward to seeing that. And also, Sean, I look forward to seeing what you were talking about. I don't really know too much, but anything to do with, you know, with help for the power, you know, in a way that's sustainable, and as I'm all ears and open-minded to look at. So
Sounds good. How many groups are interested in coming down so far? Are we one of the first, or you got a lot of people that you're talking to?
Well, this is the first meeting that I've been involved in. So Lillian, she's actually invited me the past couple of weeks, but I've been so busy. I've been running around and closing, you know, properties and buying and this and that.
Yeah, and
I've stood her up a couple of times. So.
Yeah, I've been trying to get him in since I think the second call that we did the 3rd week of August. But I want to make sure that you guys are also aware, because Chris hasn't had a chance to mention it at the beginning of this call or throughout this presentation, but Chris has a long history in doing business in Panama. So he's not a newcomer where he's just starting to get his feet wet there. So he, he's very fluent in Spanish. He understands the ins and outs of doing business in Panama, and he also has the connections. And I think recently, Chris, didn't you have a meeting with either the president or the son's president of Panama? There was I know one Friday that we had a call. You were in that meeting, and that's why you were not able to participate. So can you tell them a little bit about your background, and we'll close up in the next 5 minutes, leaving with that. I think it's a high point to highlight.
Yeah, so I've spent a lot of time here in Panama. I speak fluent Spanish. I can fool most people that think I'm of Spanish descent when in speaking, although I'm not. I'm a 100% gringo, you might say. Anyways, the gentleman that you're referring to, his name is Juan Mal Henriquez, and he's actually President Nito's son-in-law, and he's very connected. Obviously, he's very connected to the president. He manages a lot of the president's travel agenda. I think it was 2 weeks ago. He basically set up meetings with Mike Bloomberg and a bunch of other very important people in New York. Took the president and President Nito, he organized that, brought him up there to New York City. They had those meetings. He's met with, I'm sure, Patrick, you've heard of Brock Pearson, I think is his name, the Bitcoin guy.
Name sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
Anyways, he's constantly, he's just incredibly connected, Juan Manuel, and brilliant. He's a brilliant guy. Anyways, he's part of my team. He's on my team. We're on a daily communication basis. He's basically helping in all aspects of the project. And then, locally, I have, well, the indigenous villages, like I said, very tight connection with them, at a long-term history of goodwill in both directions, between them and myself. They're going to be a huge part in the way we create the whole experience. And I had an export company for about 20 years where we exported used computer technology all over the world. However, our biggest markets were Central and South America. I was down here a lot. I've probably had, I've had hundreds and hundreds of trips within Central and South America to for business, pleasure. Usually they're combined. But so anyways, yeah, like I feel like I'm in my element.
I love it.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. It's 3:13, how appropriate, an angel number. And so I want to thank you for tuning in, tapping in today, and taking times out of your busy schedule to meet online here and be, graced with this amazing presentation, this amazing vibe of people. Keep doing the work, keep doing those meditations, clear intention, married with an elevated emotion. We upload it into 5D and look what's happening. And it is possible. The impossible is absolutely, positively possible. So with that, I leave you. Thank you, my friends and gems, and my fellow Dr. Joe, genius mystic healer. I'm so excited to see you, and have a beautiful weekend.
You as well.
You guys have a beautiful weekend too.
Great to meet you all. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, great seeing you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.